Good evening, everybody. I thought I would share the first part of an article written in the Berwick Bandits Speedway website by none other than Mythman, who also obviously puts together articles for the program. But this is one that the most recent one he did that we've waited ages to see. So let's share it straight away as soon as I can. Let's get that up. There we go. And let's share it with everybody so you can see what I'm on about. I was in touch with James, who said, yeah, I'm going to share it. I think he feels guilty because I know that he's lying about his car being borrowed, and I think I know what happened to the package. But anyway, that's another story. Let's just share the screen. I'm only kidding, James. And let's pop that up there. So this is the Dirt Extra. This is from James's most recent blog, as you can see, from the 3rd of July. So referees, rants, replays, and real irritations. So that was Sunday by none other than Mythman. And you struggle to recognize him there because you only see the top of his head, but let me assure you that is definitely him there. Now, he wrote, I've often said that a lack of speedway can be a frustrating thing. And after the best part of a month without any sideways action at Shieldfield, it is starting to irritate me just a little. Not just you, James, me as well. Of course, this isn't anyone's fault. The weather has largely been to blame, and it is what it is. It is indeed. I've actually missed a couple of meetings through gigs, but luckily both of them were cancelled anyway. So you might be thinking that because there has been a lack of speedway, I might be struggling to put together some content. Perish the thought. Well, I hate to disappoint you all, but I have a lot to say. Not only that, but I'm also going to say the things that others are apparently scared to. Strap yourselves in, folks, because someone has stuck 50p in me. Well, okay. So just more than just 50p. Anyway, much like all of you, whenever I had the chance, I have taken the opportunity to watch televised meetings whenever I have the chance. And it seems like every meeting I've seen has, at least one, if not multiple, shocking referee decisions. I realize this isn't exactly earth-shattering news. These sort of things have gone on for years. While I can appreciate there was always going to be an element of human error involved, heck, I've seen me watching a meeting and not know what's happened in real time and form an opinion based on what I thought, only to see it differently with the benefit of a replay. Exactly. Now, I also realize that there is also not always the benefit of a replay. But when there is, why are these decisions, wrong decisions, still being made? Take Berwick's recent meeting at Poole, which I had the benefit of watching from about Heat 9 onwards with Mr. Black and Berwick Bandits' greatest Gala Shields supporter, Alan. There were 4 instances of classic first bench Ben bunching, and in all 4 instances, a rider was excluded. Why? Now, admittedly, there wasn't contact in every instance, but it was the classic case where 2 or more riders are in the same place at the same time, and on a night where the track was a bit tricky and patchy, there are going to be riders running out of room. The meeting was streamed on BSN, the British Speedway Network, and when watching back the replay of every incident, for me, there was a case that every single one could, I would say, should have been all 4 back, contact or no contact. So my point being, every viewer could see a replay of every incident. Why doesn't the referee use these? In fact, if it was up to me, there should be the benefit of video replays of every track for the referee to use whenever these instances roll around. I realize this wouldn't always be possible, and it would be impossible to catch all the action. But that is an argument, debate, or discussion for another day. The argument to be made is that if there is any doubt whatsoever, and you can put all 4 riders back in the race, do that. After all, the public want to see 4 riders in a race more often than not, and when the result is directly affected by these decisions, I feel the public and viewers have been robbed. No need to be controversial and make exclusions for the sake of it, but that to me is what the issue is. Now I'm setting my head out on the chopping block here, but in my opinion, certain, not all, but certain Speedway referees are only satisfied if at the end of the night, the fans are talking about them and not the meeting they have just watched. To me, if a referee has done his or her job properly, then you likely won't even know they were there. Obviously, I know that wouldn't always be possible because some decisions simply are 50-50 and you're never going to please everyone. But tell me I'm wrong when both team managers, Flinty and Middleditch, agree the referee had a shocker and it ultimately cost Berwick at least a point. Is that all? I wish it was, but it isn't. But we'll get on to that. I wanted to share something with you, something else. It's easy to be critical of the referees when they've had a bad meeting. And I must admit, at the end of that meeting, when both Flinty and Middleditch agreed that the referee had made some bad decisions, or decisions that should have gone the other way. Look, all we want is for the meeting to, yes, I realize there's time constraints and you want to get the meeting done in a certain space of time. But clearly when, coming out of the first bend, if you know that there are riders, certain riders that are likely going to push the opponent wide for their benefit, you have to look at the replay to see what on earth was going on there. And we're not criticizing experienced riders for doing what they do. However, here's the other side of the coin, if you like, which I wanted to share with you. And this is from, it's a little bit from this book, this wonderful book called 7 Men for a Season. It's a book about the Hackney Kestrels of 1988. Let's see if I can share that for you. Let's try that. Let's try this. I think we might be in business. So I'm going to start at this page 50, the bottom of page 50. This is just a bit of preamble. It's the next page that gets really interesting. Andy Galvin and Mark Loram were in individual action for the 3rd day running on Sunday in the British semi-finals of the World Championship. Isn't it interesting? We're talking about a time when Mark Loram, 18 years old in 88, was trying to become world champion, something that he did 12 years later. Mark had received the short straw by being drawn at Sheffield, a circuit notoriously difficult for anyone who doesn't ride there on a regular basis. Ricky, I know that you're laughing at that bit because you are the track record holder and have been for the last 12 years. While Andy was at Oxford. Isn't that interesting? Oxford, which has come back after 15 years. Ironically, a track where Mark excels. Loram, Mark, still suffering from a neck injury, found the going tough in Yorkshire and failed to qualify, despite scoring in all but one of his outings. Andy, on the other hand, kept the National League flag flying, along with Steve Schofield of Poole, by qualifying for the British final at Coventry with 9 points, 3 of them earned in Heat 4, when he swooped from last to first on one corner, beating eventual winner Simon Wigg in the process. Now, this is important. The following Friday, we entertained Poole at Waterden Road in the first leg of the first round of the Knockout Cup. Now, Pool back then, as they are now, very, very strong. We had been disappointed when we heard the draw, as in our opinion, it brought together the best two teams in the league far too early in the competition. We regarded the Pool Echo Pirates as our main rivals for the league championship, and we knew that we were going to have a tough fight on our hands over the two legs. John Louis called the boys into the office for a team talk before the match, something which we only do at Hackney before particularly important matches, and stressed the importance of team riding when you are looking to build up as big a lead as possible to take to the away leg. Friday the 13th proved to be unlucky for Paul. We could hardly believe our eyes as Hackney rattled up no less than 10 5-1s, totally demolishing the Pirates by 70 points to 26. 13 bonus points were evidence enough that the team had taken their manager's advice to heart. Galvin and Laram both scored paid maximums, and Alan Moggridge gave a superb display of team riding, scoring no fewer than 4 points. Now, obviously, I'm biased, okay? For all Berwick fans, Alan Moggridge is another total legend. Get this, Moggo also demonstrated what a good sportsman he is by persuading the referee to reinstate Kevin Smart after the pool rider had been excluded following a first bend melee. In brackets, I must admit to overhearing John Louis saying to Alan before the rerun, quote, "You got him back in the race, now you'd better, blinking well, go out and beat him." Close brackets. Unfortunately for Kevin, and possibly to Alan Moggridge's relief, he tangled with Chris Louis in exactly the same spot and was promptly excluded again. With all due respect to the pool team, Hackney had taken their nearest rivals apart. For the first time, people began talking about beating Newcastle's record of the least number of points dropped in a season, and the year of the Kestrel was beginning to look like a reality. The most telling comment came from pool co-promoter Mervyn Tewksbury, who described Hackney's performance as frightening. But there you go. That's how Alan Moggridge dealt with that first bend bunching. Phone the referee, tell him, look, don't exclude him. It was nobody's fault. It was just the way it is. Will we ever see any kind of speedway sportsmanship like that again? I think so. I think there are riders out there that are fair enough that they would, if asked by the referee what happened, we got a bit close, and he didn't. In fairness, the other guy didn't have anywhere to go. But let's call it a day there. I've got another the second half of James's blog to look at, and We'll do that as a separate video. And I've got one or two other things that I wanted to talk about with the doom mongers of Speedway. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. It's particularly reading a bit about, as I say, Berwick legend. Well, not just Berwick legend, Speedway legend, Alan Moggridge. Catch you all soon. Bye for now.